All right, everyone. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you guys a standard recap, and we're going to break down the trades from today. You can see that I'm finishing the morning up $3,257.66, which makes it my worst day in a week. All right, I've been averaging $10,000 a day here for these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Plus, I had this day back here, which was an $8,000 green day. So I really have been on a nice hot streak, these last, I guess the last like 2 weeks or so. And I want to keep it going. Now, unfortunately today, I came up a little bit short, which is why I'm going to do just a standard recap and not do kind of like a case study of one specific trade or one specific setup, because there was nothing today that was really outstanding. I think the reason that it came up a little short today was partly because I hesitated this morning on Silo. You'll see I didn't even trade it at all. Silo is currently the second leading gapper. And when I sat down at around 6:30, 6:45 to look at the scans, I was pretty disappointed because the leading gainer at about 6:45 was only 30%. And I was like, uh-oh, this is not good. It's looking really slow today. I also checked the scanners last night to see if we had anything that was moving after hours that closed really strong, but we didn't. So I was a little concerned today that it was going to be slower. When I saw that scan at 6:30, 6:45, that reaffirmed that. Now, Silo was up about 30%, and I saw it right here around $1.60, and I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. This one's a little cheaper. I don't think it's going to work. And I was wrong. That was the wrong call on that one, because it did end up working pretty nicely. I could have easily jumped in it right here, but I just thought it's a little thickly traded. It's a little cheap. I don't know. So I passed on it. It goes up to $1.70, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to get in here. It's still pretty thickly traded. It goes up to $1.88, $1.90, $2. It holds $2. It goes up to $2.17. I'm like, well, I can't chase it up here. It goes up to $2.25. Big seller, dips down, squeezes back up here to $2.35. Topping tail, rejects. Squeezes back up here to $2.50. Topping tail, rejects. Up to $2.57. Topping tail, rejects. And so, look, if I had bought 5,000, 10,000 shares and scaled into it, I could be up $10,000 today, just probably from trades on Silo, but I ended up kind of discounting it, just thinking it wasn't as good of a setup, and so I've got nothing to show for it. So you could see Silo came into this daily resistance here around 257. History of this red candle, 200 moving average resistance here at 170, which was sort of an issue early pre-market. Anyways, it is what it is. The fact is, I suppose, this doesn't fall within my perfect criteria in terms of price. The price is a little too cheap for me. This isn't usually where I would do super well. So I probably would have ended up churning quite a lot of commissions if I was jumping in, jumping out. I don't actually know if I would have made $10,000 on this stock. Maybe a couple thousand. So no trades on Silo. All right, so I'm sitting here. First trade yesterday was at 7 a.m., like right at 6:58, 7 a.m. And then I had a couple other trades because we had SNCI yesterday that had news that broke right at 7. So that gave us that squeeze here from 450 up to 8. That was what gave me, such a nice green day yesterday. Today, we didn't have anything like that at 7 a.m. 7:30, still nothing. Nothing really good. Now, we did have, we had a couple stocks that popped up with news. ASNS had news this morning. ANVS is the one that had news this morning. This one popped up and rejected on the news. It kind of rallied back up, but didn't hold. We also had BTAI. This one had news. You'll see the chart pop and drop. A big rejection. ATGL. Really, unfortunately, there was a trend this morning where a lot of these stocks that were popping up rejected. So come 7:30, nothing. 7:40, I see LASC hitting the scanner. And LASC, I initially was like, nope, not going to jump in this one. And the reason I'm not going to jump in it is because we just saw 3 or 4 stocks pop up and reject. So LASC pops up right here, and then it rejects. Okay, so let me zoom in on this. So it pops up right through here and rejects. So I'm like, nope, not interested. But then it bounces back up to 230. And now I'm starting to think, well, wait a second, this is curling. So I got in right here as we broke over, right about here, as we broke over $2.35, and I added it 245, and then it goes up to 260, 270. So I added it 265, and I'm starting to think, all right, we break 265, we're looking at 75, 85, and move to 3, and then it stalled out. So I made 1,300 bucks on it, which was a green trade. But rather than sell at the top, I was adding. I was looking for a bigger move. I thought, all of a sudden it goes up 30, 40 cents in one candle. I'm getting excited. And then it just stalled out. The float on this, 8.69 million shares, a little higher. Had some news. Daily chart, above the 200, no real issue. But look at the chart now. It's actually down on the day, 3%. So that's not great. Didn't hold up. Next one was PAPL at 9 a.m. So then I didn't take a single trade for over an hour. And then PAPL hit the scanner and I jumped in this. Now, this was a close call because, again, total rejection. It did not hold up. I got in at $1.36. So I bought up here and then I took profit at about $1.50. It looked for a second like we were going to really keep going, and then it just stalled out again. So on this one, it hit my scanner, and you can see all of a sudden this thing rips through $1 and is pretty much just going parabolic. You have this momentary pullback. See how this candle has a bottoming tail? So here it dipped, and then when it came back up, I got in. So that's where I got in right there, and it hit a high of 60, and then again stopped out. I had to stop out, right? So that was PAPL. Then almost immediately following, KOSS squeezes up. So KOSS, that one starts to move higher. And I jumped on that momentum, just taking a small position for the break of, let's see, what was it? It was, just look at my entry. I added at 975, anticipating the break at 10. And we got a squeeze on this up to about 1025. So that was nice. Ended up pushing a little higher as the day went on, but not that exciting, I guess. And then LPA, this one, I got one trade on it and I made 60 bucks. Whatever. It's not much. It's got a daily level here at about $24, $25 a share right in this area. If it can break and hold above this level, then we've got some room for a move higher. And that's interesting. But if we can't, then, well, there's nothing to trade. So we'll see if this makes new highs. The problem with LPA is that the price is now a little higher. It's thinly traded. It has big spreads. And so it carries a lot of risk. Is today the day where my P&L is showing that I can afford to take that risk? No. I would say I can't afford to take that risk. I got to be grateful for what I've got and live to trade another day. So I think that's the safe move. It's a little more conservative. I am definitely in a place on the month where, I could take more risk. We've had it's been a terrific month of July so far. However, on the other hand, we still have 2 weeks left. And if I can just keep my head down and stay disciplined and not take crazy amounts of risk, I've got a good shot at breaking 100 grand. I'm at 69,000 on the month right now. And that's before today's trades. So that's going to put me up to 2,000 on the month, 28,000 to go. So if I can average $3,000 a day for the rest of the month, I'm going to have a great month. 100K is within reach. So, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to reach for it. We'll see if it happens. It may not, but I think I've got a good shot at it. Now, that means I've got to keep my head in the game and stay focused and not get sloppy, not start taking, crazy amounts of risk just because I've, got a little bit of a cushion. I suppose and for what it's worth, LPA, it's not really the one to take a lot of risk on because it's just not the right price float kind of combination. It's just got a lot of risk on it. Now, if there was one SNCI or whatever it was, SCNI yesterday, I took more risk on that, and that was right. It was in my price range, 5 to 10. It's a good price range to be aggressive. So, look, tomorrow we may end up having a stock either this afternoon that closes strong and then goes into tomorrow for continuation, or we may just end up having a fresh stock with breaking news that gives us a move like SCNI, and I'm ready to step up to the plate and be aggressive when I see a stock that really closely meets my criteria for having like some serious potential, especially in the context of what's working in this market right now. So that's kind of my outlook here. Obviously my recap for today, only traded 4 stocks, so didn't trade as many as I've traded on other days. Also note on LPA, this is an Amex listed stock, which means we can't see halt resumptions. So if it halts, we won't see the resumption price. That's going to be a little bit of a risk factor as well. And as you can see from these spreads, you've got to be prepared for a bit of a roller coaster ride on this type of stock. The spread seems to move without even orders going through. So I don't know what's going on there. But if you end up trading it, good luck, manage your risk. Even for me, I was only trading with small size, 250 share blocks. I'm not going to punch 2,000 shares on this and be down $6,000 in 90 seconds. It's just not worth it. So know your sweet spot, know where you're doing well, lean in on that. And today's are days that will test, days like today. Today is one of the days that will test your patience. So if you're having a hard time being patient, there's nothing wrong with getting up, shutting it down, and walking away and saying, you know what? I'll live to trade another day. I'll be back tomorrow. And I don't need to know what happens for the rest of the day today. I can check tonight when the market's closed. And for the rest of the day, I get to walk away knowing that I did a good job. So that's it for me. Manage your risk, take it slow. If you want to do a 2-week trial, of course, there's a link down in the description. So I hope you guys do that. And I thank you as always for tuning into these episodes. Okay, I'll see you for the next upload tomorrow.